It is 5 in the morning in the glacial fjords of Svalbard, a kingdom of fractured ice and freezing darkness. Here, survival demands sheer mass. For the mighty walrus and the ringed seal, this icy labyrinth is a sanctuary. But as the sun arcs across this brief Arctic day, we will witness the rhythms of an extreme ecosystem and wait for the twilight when the most elusive phantom of the north finally breaks the surface. This is the Svalbard archipelago, a landscape of shattered stone and ancient ice, rising defiantly from the dark, freezing expanse of the Arctic Ocean. At 5 o'clock in the morning, the world here is draped in a thick, chilling mist. It is a land that appears, at first glance, to be locked in a state of eternal, frozen suspension. Yet, beneath this veneer of absolute stillness beats the resilient heart of a complex environment. Here, survival is not a given. It is a daily triumph earned against brutal forces. As the soft, muted blue light of dawn pierces the heavy coastal fog, the fjord slowly awakens. The jagged basalt cliffs, dusted with frost, stand as unyielding sentinels over the drifting brash ice. Navigating this treacherous, frozen shoreline is an Arctic fox. Clad in its dense winter coat, it moves with a calculated grace, its sensitive nose working the freezing air, searching for the meager bounties left behind by the retreating tide. The fox is a master of endurance, a solitary wanderer in a majestic ice kingdom. Out on the water, the silence is broken by a sound that speaks of immense scale. A colossal bowhead whale rises from the dark abyss, exhaling a towering plume of warm vapor into the frigid dawn. These leviathans, carrying centuries of memory within their massive frames, navigate the iceberg-littered glacial fjords with a serene elegance. Beneath them, the ocean is not a barren void, but a rich, complex, three-dimensional world. In the shallow coastal waters, where the diffused early morning light penetrates the gloom, agile ringed seals glide effortlessly. They weave through swaying golden-brown kelp forests, perfectly camouflaged against the rocky seabed. Further down, in the absolute depths where the light struggles to reach, bizarre and wonderful creatures carve out a living. The alien-like sea spider creeps with agonizing slowness across the muddy benthic zone, while the delicate, translucent sea butterfly flies through the mid-water column, entirely at the mercy of the deep, unseen oceanic currents. It is a world of stark contrasts, where the microscopic and the monolithic share the same freezing stage. As the morning progresses toward 8 o'clock, the mist begins to burn away, revealing a bright, overcast sky. The energy of the fjord shifts dramatically. The coastal shallows become a theater of vibrant activity. A massive flock of king eiders, the males adorned with stunning orange and green facial shields, bob on the undulating swells before diving in perfect unison to forage on the seabed. Above them, the sheer, towering cliffs are transformed into a bustling metropolis. Thousands of Atlantic puffins and tiny little auks return from the open ocean, their wings beating frantically against the cold air as they navigate toward their precarious nesting ledges. The air is filled with the cacophony of life, a stark contrast to the silent majesty of the glaciers. But the true masters of this coastline are the walruses. An absolutely immense herd, numbering in the hundreds, has hauled out onto a flat, dark, rocky beach. These blubber-rich giants are a testament to raw, brute strength. Their massive bodies, heavily scarred from years of battle and survival, writhe and roll over one another in a chaotic, booming mass. The air reverberates with their guttural roars and deep, echoing bellows. They use their ancient, deeply stained ivory tusks to establish dominance, hauling their tremendous weight out of the freezing surf. Out in the open ocean, a sleek beluga pod, the white ghosts of the Arctic, passes by. Their high-pitched echolocation clicks bounce off the submerged walls of blue icebergs as they hunt for shimmering, synchronized schools of tiny Arctic cod. Even the elusive harp seal, with its distinctive dark markings, can be seen riding the coastal surf, hauling its sleek body onto slick rocks to rest. The interconnectedness of this marine ecosystem is profound. Every creature plays a vital role in the delicate balance of the Arctic food web. By 11:30, the pale sun climbs to its highest point behind the thick blanket of clouds. The flat, natural midday light casts no harsh shadows, illuminating the landscape in an even, muted glow. For the inhabitants of Svalbard, this brief period of relative warmth brings a necessary low. The massive walrus herd, exhausted from the morning's social frenzy, settles into a deep, collective slumber. Hundreds of massive bodies rise and fall in perfect, rhythmic unison, their deep snoring carrying across the calm water. To conserve vital energy and oxygen, heavily whiskered, bearded seals lie completely motionless on the muddy seafloor, while solitary ringed seals suspend themselves like statues in the deep blue pelagic void. On the harsh, rocky tundra high above the fjords, the terrestrial residents also seek respite. A small herd of stout, furry Svalbard reindeer rests in a patch of dry lichen, their complex, velvet-covered antlers perfectly still as they chew their cud. Nearby, an Arctic fox curls tightly into a heavily insulated circle beneath the shadow of a basalt boulder, using its thick tail to protect its sensitive nose from the chill. Yet, even in this profound midday calm, danger is never far away. The undisputed apex predator of this realm, the polar bear, relies on this stillness. With immense, deadly white paws, a solitary bear patrols the coastline. It moves like a phantom, a silent, heavily blurred silhouette against the vastness of the ice. It watches the sleeping walruses, calculating, waiting for a moment of weakness. It is a harsh reminder that in the Arctic, the line between rest and ruin is imperceptibly thin. In the deep, pitch-black abyss of the fjord, another ancient predator stirs. The Greenland shark, a creature of legend and extreme longevity, glides with agonizing slowness through the freezing void. Blinded by parasitic copepods, it relies on its acute senses to scavenge in the deep, sharing the darkness with a colossal lion's mane jellyfish whose immense crimson bells and hundreds of venomous tentacles drift silently like terrifying underwater chandeliers. As the afternoon progresses past 2 o'clock, the atmosphere begins to shift. The brief midday warmth dissipates, replaced by a cooling, sweeping wind that descends from the high glaciers. The ocean, previously a flat mirror, begins to roll with renewed energy. The massive, flat slabs of pack ice groan and crash together, driven by the invisible forces of the tide and wind. This changing weather acts as an alarm clock for the ecosystem. The Svalbard reindeer rise, their broad, split hooves clicking against the jagged stones as they resume their relentless forage for sparse vegetation. The Arctic fox stretches its agile frame, its radar-like ears swiveling to catch the faint sounds of life beneath the shifting ice. It darts across the frozen expanse, a flash of movement against the desolate white. In the water, the urgency returns.
The walruses, sensing the sudden drop in ambient temperature, slide their immense, blubbery mass headfirst back into the freezing ocean, abandoning the rocky shores. Beneath the surface, agile adults and vulnerable ringed seal pups torpedo through the dark, swaying kelp, snapping their jaws at panicked schools of fish. The sky above fills once more with avian activity. Glaucous gulls, aggressive and opportunistic, swoop violently down toward the water's surface, harassing smaller seabirds to steal their hard-earned catches. Northern fulmars ride the strengthening thermal drafts, gliding effortlessly inches above the undulating waves. It is a frantic period of activity, a final, desperate effort to fuel their bodies before the inevitable descent of the long, cold night. The resilience required to simply exist in this environment is nothing short of miraculous. Every heartbeat, every breath, every successful hunt is a testament to millions of years of evolutionary perfection.
Finally, as the clock nears 5:15, the true majesty of the Arctic reveals itself. The overcast sky breaks slightly, painting the horizon in breathtaking, dusty, muted orange and deep blue hues. The soft, diffused twilight settles over the landscape, transforming the fjords into a realm of stark, dramatic silhouettes. The towering blue glaciers reflect the fading light, glowing faintly against the dark, mirror-like surface of the incredibly calm ocean. The temperature drops sharply, forcing the animals to seek shelter or hunker down. The walruses congregate in the open water, floating vertically with only their tusked heads breaking the surface, bobbing gently in unison to conserve heat. The Atlantic puffins tuck their brightly colored beaks tightly under their wings on the narrow cliff ledges. Absolute, profound silence returns to Svalbard, broken only by the whistling wind and the distant, eerie cracking of the ancient ice. It is a moment of stark perfection, a landscape entirely stripped of warmth, yet bursting with the quiet dignity of survival. And then, in the final moments before the twilight completely fades, the ultimate payoff. The water's surface, smooth as glass, is suddenly broken, not by the frantic splashing of a hunt, but by a graceful, synchronized movement. A phantom-like pod of elusive narwhals glides smoothly into the fjord. Their incredible spiraled ivory tusks pierce the cold air, slicing upward through the dark water. These legendary creatures, the true apex wanderers of the high Arctic, undulate their speckled gray bodies in perfect unison. They exhale striking clouds of warm mist into the freezing evening air, their high-pitched acoustic clicks echoing through the deep. As they swim slowly away toward the horizon, silhouetted sharply against the fading, burning twilight, they seem to carry the very essence of the Ice Kingdom with them. They are a profound reminder of the mystery, the power, and the enduring resilience of the natural world. As darkness finally reclaims the fjords, the cycle is complete. The ice remains, the cold remains, and the breathtaking rhythm of life in the Arctic continues, unbroken and eternal. As the narwhals reclaim the freezing depths of Svalbard, a very different kind of survival is just beginning. 3,000 miles away, under a blistering, unforgiving sun, the apex predators of the savanna are waking up. Discover what happens in the first hours of the dry season, right here